Hi my friends, thank you for joining me today. We are going to paint this super cute Hello Spring sign today. I'm so glad you joined me. Alright, so in your kit, you should have received a couple feet of ribbon and either thinner wet ribbon or jute or twine. Some makeup sponges and Q-tips and glue, a fine tip paintbrush, unless you have one on hand, some diaper wipes to keep our fingers nice and clean, of course our paint and plates, and finally our pieces that we are going to be painting. What you'll need is a cup of water and some paper towels and some scissors. All right, let's get started. First thing, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut a little chunk of my makeup sponge. And we're going to start by painting the base. And I am going to go ahead and do my base a simple, clean white. If I can open up my little container. There we go. All right. I'm hoping that with this little spring sign that we can usher on spring, because I am kind of tired of the dreary brown grass and gray skies. All right, you can tell that there's little score lines on my board. If yours is the same, those are just for gluing guides. It's okay if you paint over it. You don't need to really be able to see it. It's mostly for the end when we glue the pieces on so we can get the spacing right. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. You can see that I didn't really go over the areas where the words and the flowers are, but I'll go in and kind of touch up anywhere after it dries that it needs more paint. Okay, so while that's drying, we're gonna go ahead and move on to painting the words and the other layered pieces. So for this, I'm going to do an outline of brown. And I'm just going to go around the edges. I'm going to try to stay away from these other pieces that will be painted a different color. These flowers, we're going to just focus on the stems because the actual flower itself will be painted on another layer. Okay, we're gonna set this aside to let it dry before we do our second coat. And while we're waiting for it to dry, we'll move on to painting the flower pieces. Okay, so for the flower pieces, we're gonna do a little bit of an ombre effect, where we're gonna have the tulip be a little bit lighter on the top and then have it get darker as it gets to the bottom. And for the daisies, it's gonna be like a mix of yellow and white to kind of give it some dimension and have it pop off the white back a little bit more. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is use a little toothpick or a Q-tip and use it like a little spoon. And get some yellow out onto the plate. And we'll do the same with the white. Just a little bit. All right, and then you're just gonna kind of dab and mix. So you kind of have a little bit of each color on here. And just go over your daisy. Okay, we're going to do the same with the tulip, only we're going to use coral and white. And so you're going to just start light, and as you get down below, you'll just take less and less white onto your sponge. And then just go over the base with just solid coral and just kind of lightly mix the two different shades together. All right, so we're gonna let this, oh, let's not forget the centers of the daisies. Those are brown. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let these all dry, and then we're gonna do touch-up second coats as needed. Okay, so we just finished doing all of the second coats, and in some cases, some of your pieces might need a third coat, depending on the coverage that you got. So this daisy up here could probably handle a little bit more. It's just all your preference. If you want it completely covered, or if you like the edges being a little exposed. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and add little detail lines using this very, very fine paintbrush. It's very stiff when it first comes out of the package, so I recommend getting it loosened up with some water. All right, so the trick is with this is to get your paint very loose with the water, so it's almost like a watercolor. And this is just to add the little highlights. And if you don't want to do this part, by all means you can skip this step. Okay, so what you're just going to do is with your very light, let me go ahead and zoom in on this for you. Okay, you're just going to just very lightly draw in some highlights. And then for the little daisies, I'm just going to add a little bit of hashtagging. gonna go over some areas a little bit more so they pop a little bit. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're gonna add them to the leaves and to the word spring. So now let's go ahead and let this dry and we'll clean up our area and then we'll glue it all together. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and remove the tape off the back of this to get the pieces free. All right. So let's open up our glue. Let's get a little Q-tip ready. All right. Now remember, you need to always puncture the little seal before you use it. All right, we're going to start by gluing the border around. Okay, so now that we've got it all glued together, we're going to pop out these circles and attach our hanging piece and our bow. So we need to make our bow. All right, so we're going to take our ribbon and we're going to find the center of it. Let me zoom out a little bit for you. All right, so there's our center, and we're going to just make a little it's a little slippery, little bow like such. Okay, now I know that doesn't look like a bow yet, but what you're going to do is you're going to tie it. And because it's a wired ribbon, it will let you play with it a little bit. Let's move the centerpiece so it's more even. Okay, we're going to tie it super tight and then add the knot. Okay, you're going to pull down the tails. And then you're going to decide which side you like better. Sometimes you might like the back better or the front. In this case, this is the side I like better. So I'm going to wiggle the knot to the back. Okay. And now to make this piece a little bit thicker, you can just wrap it. And then wrap it the other direction. then tie it again in the back. Okay. And this is when you can just kind of pull it, fluff it, and get it how you like it. Okay. Now to get the cute little dovetail, you can just fold it in half and then cut it at an angle. Okay, and you'll do the same for the other side. You can always shorten it if needs be. All right. So let's go ahead and let's pop out the little holes. So for the hanging piece, you'll just go ahead and feed the twine or the ribbon, and you can just tie it in the back. Okay. So it's ready to hang, and now we're going to go ahead and add the bow. So you'll go ahead and feed these through the holes too. You could always run some Scotch tape if your jute is starting to fray, making it hard to fit in. There we go. And go ahead and just pull the bow through. And line it up how you like it. And go ahead and double knot this, and then go ahead and cut off the excess twine. Go ahead and fluff your bow again. And you've got your Hello Spring sign ready to hang. If you don't want to hang it, if you have a table easel, especially if you had one from our February subscription, you can always just have it sit in a table easel, or you can add the hang piece. But here you go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that if we all get our spring signs made, it'll give Mother Nature the nudge she needs to get some nice warm spring weather coming. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.